Hi, this is AP Lit, and we're talking about chapter 1 of All the King's Men, and any volunteers to share something interesting, something insightful. Again, before we go to John, that's what I'm looking for in your papers, and that you got to get used to discovering that. If that's what you're required, come say something meaningful about this. What did you learn? So this is good practice for that. You can get us started, John.
Well, I thought it was like interesting, and I was a little bit confused on the part where they were trying to find like dirt on the people. Like that part just like confused me a lot. He was like, I was confused with what was even happening there. Because the
Well,
word.
be more specific. Who's finding dirt on what people?
What was like the judge was saying that he had information like against like
Masters.
yeah, against Masters. So he was trying to endorse
Callahan.
Callahan. So he was trying to. So he thought he could elect Callahan since he had something against Masters or information about Masters that would put him in like a way that wouldn't get him like elected.
Right.
So.
And work the other way too, didn't it? I just made that point. Judge would not that it really doesn't matter, except I asked it, and so it matters. I mean, if you want to get the details correct, big picture, the judge was supporting Callahan. Again, that character you'll probably never hear Callahan's name again. And Willie supporting Masters. They're examples of this whole scene is an example of how politics works. So, what was your question?
I was just confused about like the phrasing of like finding dirt on someone.
Okay, you didn't know what that meant?
No.
Okay, anybody take that? Like, what does that mean?
Sure, he was like trying to dig up as much like wrong things that the judge had done.
Wow.
Like expose him because he was supporting Masters who was running against Callahan.
Right.
And if he found stuff on the judge, then that would ruin Callahan's race, and then
With voters, right?
yeah, and then his person would get elected, Masters would get elected.
Sure. I mean, there's a election in Virginia, New Jersey, probably other places today, and I think over the last few days, some of that's come out. Actually, I can't remember any dirt. It's actually come out, but that's typically when the best stuff. If you've got the best stuff, you want it to come out prior, right at the end of the campaigning process, so that you can ruin. People will say, "I didn't know that." Several years ago, George Bush running against whoever he was running against after Bill Clinton. Right before, literally the week before the election, it came out that something about they were trying to get him on a drunk driving charge, and he was like 16 or something. It was something like that, or it also had something to do with he was in the Texas National Guard, but they were trying to make it sound like he got out of service in Vietnam. That was that's dirt, a drunk driving charge when you're a teenager. You never know with the internet, but that's the kind of stuff they try to throw at these candidates to hurt their support. Now, you want to say something else, and then we'll go to.
I thought it was interesting how like everybody kind of liked Willie and they backed him, but he was actually like pretty corrupt because he was trying to ruin the other candidate's race just by like finding dirt on the judge. He wasn't like allowing them to have a real election. He kind of tampered with that, but like the people still liked him, but they didn't know that he was actually like a corrupt person.
So what would be corrupt about if somebody did have a drunk driving charge when they were 17 and exposing it? Why would that be corrupt? You're not making it up. And the thing about Jack, you'll notice he doesn't lie about people. He finds real, actual stuff that they did. Why would that be corrupt? He is corrupt, but why would that be corrupt?
Like it has no relevance in movies.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that argument. Other people would say, well, I don't want a man who has that kind of character. But you're right, that people don't like that. But people still like Willie. So the question would be why? Why do they still like that guy, the guy you just described? Why would they like him? Like, what has he done from reading the first chapter that, yeah, I get it. I know now why these people love him. In fact, they adore him. Some people, not everybody. People either hate him or love him. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? What do you have any idea? I mean, you don't think about it. We're going, then we'll go back to David.
Yes, he did stuff for the people, like he built that schoolhouse, and I think he built Highway 58.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that. I can't remember the details, but that's the kind of stuff he
built
did.
the highway.
Yeah.
I mean, he just did stuff that benefited the people. He was a man of the people. Despite like whatever he was doing was corrupt, he was still helping people a lot. So in that sense, they still liked him.
And I think you're right. I think that's the thing that makes Willie different than your typical, maybe dictator or corrupt politician. He really actually does some good things for people, as well as these corrupt things. And he is morally corrupt. You'll find that out in the next chapter. Do you have anything else with that? Okay.
It's just,
Yeah.
it's just that he cares about the people.
He does.
That's who he represents.
And why do you
wants to
think he
help
cares
them.
about it?
Because those are his people.
Exactly. That's where he's from. He was from Mason City. That's where he grew up. His daddy still lives there. Good. David.
I thought it was interesting that, Willie was like, I don't know, petty's the right word, but he cared so much that the judge endorsed the candidate that was running as his candidate. He drove 100 miles, at night, just to go basically threaten the judge to
Yeah.
change his endorsement. I thought that really showed like how corrupt he really is. It's like, he'll do something that even like most corrupt politicians would probably wait till like the next day or something. They wouldn't go like.
It's literally midnight when they get to his house, and does the judge invite Willie in? No, he doesn't. Willie just walks in. Willie serves his own drink. The judge doesn't offer him a drink. He finds the liquor there and he pours it himself. He sits down. He's not asked to sit down. You know, he comes in and takes over, and I wouldn't like that. I don't care who it was, governor or whoever. Yeah.
And I don't know if it's like actually corruptness that he wants you to see that. I would say it's more like loyalty to Mathis. Like, he obviously has a connection with him, and he obviously has a reason that he would go that far out of his way to go talk to the guy that just switched, like, vote, you know?
Yeah, that's a good point. I've used the word corrupt, but is there anything illegal or anything underhanded? I mean, he's a strong-willed, strong-armed man. He likes to get what he wants. He pushes people around. The threatening is certainly, that's not, that's illegal, wouldn't it be? Wouldn't it be to threaten to blackmail? You can't,
I mean, blackmail's illegal, so I think
Yeah.
threatening to blackmail.
yeah. But did he threaten? I mean, I don't remember the exact words. I could go back and look at it, but he.
Like threatened to take away his status as a judge.
Okay, that would certainly be a threat, and he,
I thought he suggested he retire, but it was
Yeah.
implied.
and what'd you say?
I said, well, like, the action, like, going there isn't corrupt. Like, I'm just saying that was, like, out of loyalty to
Right.
support.
But I think the interesting thing is that Willie just plays that line. You know, they know what's illegal that he can't get away with, but he pushes everything to the line, and he uses all the power he has. That's a good point, yeah.
I like Willie's speech on like giving speeches.
Yeah.
Because it shows he can he's a very good politician,
Yeah.
and he can turn something that even shouldn't be a speech topic into a topic and get people interested,
Yeah.
get people to like him even more because
So,
of it.
can you point out maybe the rhetorical devices, the personality that what makes him, what made him get away with that? I mean, how did he make that effective? How did he turn a speech about not giving speeches into particularly political speeches, into a political
It
speech?
seems to be a decent bit of personality. It seems to be part of him that he's just inherently a person who is good at these speeches. And so he kind of plays on that fact and plays into the people's already liking of him.
What are the three? Ethos and
Logos and pathos.
and what's the third? Ego.
Ethos, logos, and pathos.
Okay, so let's talk about logos. Is actually what you say, right? That's the word. That's the argument you use.
Yeah, that's the logical.
And so pathos is the
Emotional connection.
and what would be ethos?
The credibility of the speaker giving the speech.
I think all three of those you could find in his speech, because his homespun talking, that makes you sympathize with him. Yeah. I mean-
Emotional, and then you're banking on the fact that he's a trustworthy person to have like a speech come from, because, you know, of his background with them, that's the
Yeah.
purpose of it.
So not being manipulative is in a way being manipulative, you know, it's like not being a politician is the very best way to be a politician. If you're cynical, you could look at it that way and say, yeah, he's really, it's hard to tell whether he's sincere or making it up, it's so much a part of him. That's a good point, yeah.
I just want to build off of that and say he's the perfect example of a typical politician, because he creates a false image with the people and with the press, and he's like joking around and like making jokes and having fun with the people in there in his speech, and then he's with the press, like interacting with them for the picture, but then you see the true self when he goes and wants to find out whatever he can on the judge and do whatever it takes to have his way.
Good. And you, I don't remember how you put it, but, you said, the first thing you said,
Perfect example of a typical politician.
right, couple of things he does at the beginning, why is he there anyway? Why are they even in Mason City? And what's the picture for?
For the press.
Yeah, why does he not, did you notice this? Why does he not paint his father's house? Anybody pick up on that?
To make him look like he came from.
That's right, to make it look more like, my father's not well off, because he even said, well, how would it look if I paint, my father's house was the best painted house in town, they would think I was playing favorites. So even that, and why does he want the dog in it?
Approachable.
That's right, so he's always
He
thinking,
can't be a bad guy, he owns a dog.
what's that?
Can't be a bad guy, he owns a dog.
That's right, and what a dog, they had Jack was the guy, I thought that was some humor, Jack had to pick the dog up and move him around and all that. Good, how about this side of the room? I think we got that side of the room. How about anybody over here? You wanna start? Yes,
Sure. I guess there's kind of a theme of appearance versus reality, which kind of goes along with what Tyler said about a typical politician, because even, like, for example, Willie, he appears to be this, like, people person that's, like, happy and warm all the time, that wouldn't be like the typical politician that's, like, cutthroat and will do whatever they have to do to get their way. But then we kind of get the backstory and we see that he does do that and he will do whatever it takes.
and if you like the guy, if he's nice to you, then you kind of put up with that other stuff, right? Well, that's just Willie, you know, because he's one of us, he's gonna get us what we want, and if the other guy cheats, we're incensed by it, but if your guy cheats, yeah, well, you kinda make excuses for him, because they like him, and that's pretty effective. Julia, what do you think?
I think like the diction of the book, it's very low diction,
Yes,
but that kind of makes it more personal, because it seems like Jack is like telling the story to you, so you get this sense of like you're actually there.
that's one of the blessings, or one of the benefits of that first person narrator, it's more immediate, you feel present. You said it was low diction, which, yeah, I think you're right. Do you ever seen either one of those two words before? I hadn't either. And yet the narrator, who is Jack, uses those words. The same Jack who typically has that low diction. What's going on there? By the way, they both have to do with being oily, in the sense of being not like, you could mean like physical oil, you know, you put oil is slippery. You know what, people that can be oily? In other words, they're just so slick, they're just so smooth. In fact, this word means oily and greasy in the sense that you're exaggeratingly complimentary. Oh, you look great today, you look wonderful, and you hear it again and again. Oh, can I help you? Just overdoing that because that person is trying to get something from you. That they're not demanding it, they're just over complimenting you. That's also, and you know what both of these words are related to? Tiny Duffy. He's an interesting character. He was one time his enemy, and now he's still his enemy, but now he's his lieutenant governor. But that's what those words describe. But again, notice the high diction, words I've never even heard before. You'll never see again, I'm sure. And yet the narrator's able to slip in, because what does that say about this narrator? He's smart. He's very well educated. Ought to have a PhD in history. You'll find out about that later.
Well, back to what we were saying about Willie, I don't think he's disingenuous in his helping of the people. I think he
Right.
genuinely wants to help his people.
Yeah.
And I think the whole situation works out very well for him,
Yeah.
where he can help his people and then also gain from that himself.
Yeah.
And I think it's just very convenient for him as a whole, because he gets to do what he wants to do in helping his people and becoming more powerful from a political
It
standpoint.
sounds like you're saying that he's born to be a politician, because that's the perfect politician. Like somebody said that, who said that? Used that very word. He's the perfect politician. Tyler said that. Because he's both genuine and disingenuous. He's genuine and disingenuous. You know, he is both. He really means it, and yet he's also manipulative. What do you think, John?
Kind of back to the point, though. Well, I thought it was weird when he visits, was it like Doc, or that character?
The guy who runs the drugstore?
Yeah,
Okay.
I kind of thought that was weird, that was kind of added in.
A kind of what?
It was kind of weird that they added that in, because I didn't really understand what was the point of that? And what he do, just pour them like a drink or something?
Right. Any of y'all over here, Todd, Max, who want to answer that? Is there any, why do you think, what does that scene say about Willie? What's the purpose of that scene? He goes in the drugstore and he's mobbed by all these local guys, Saturday. So I don't know if they knew he was coming, but it doesn't sound like it, because here's Willie. And they call him by the first name, they don't call him governor. Yeah, Todd.
Would it maybe be to show like how much the people like him and want to be around him?
Yeah, absolutely. The whole first chapter, I think, is, you said, it shows both sides of it. It shows that dark side as well as the side everybody likes. So I think that's why that scene is in there. Max, what do you got? You and Madison can finish it up.
Judge Pinson kind of reminds me of Willie, because in a way, he almost has this facade of being like this kind person, but when something comes up to like threaten his power, he almost changes his personality.
Yeah.
And, like,
Sure.
That's what it does what he has to do to it.
Yeah, that's a good connection. The judge, you said the judge, right? Yeah. How about it, Matt?
I thought it was interesting how it kind of goes back in the past for a little bit with
Yeah.
Jack remembering like the first time he was meeting with Willie and how things are so different from now and how he used to be kind of just like a side politician and now he's like a very respected man.
So, this might be useful. I have a few notes. That's a really good point. I want to add to that. The story, chapter 1 takes place mostly in 1936, which is 3 years before chapter 2. So the action in the story is taking place in 1939. That's when the present is. So 1936 is, but then from 1936 they go to 1922, the first time that Jack met the judge. I'm sorry, he met Willie. So that's one thing we often talk about this book, is how the author uses the past. And you start in 36, go to 22, come back to 39. So it's back and then forward, and then he'll go back again. Just a couple of things to make, I got about 4 minutes. I want you to note, you can add this to what you already said. Did you realize his picture is in the drugstore? And it mentioned that it's all over the state. Willie's picture is standing. Do you see the picture of our governor in here? Or do you see the picture of any? I see those authors over there. But this is what you do in these small, we would call them banana republics. You put the picture of your exalted leader in your house. And maybe communist countries, maybe people had pictures of Hitler, I don't know. but that, to me, that little detail, the fact he had his picture was a kind of a, example of his being a dictator like, and it's, did you notice the words that, that as he walked through the people fell back, you know, like that's the word, they fell back. It's like the parting of the Red Sea. Again, the diction, and we might use this, I think I saw evidence of some of this in your papers, that our discussions were a little better than some past years, the papers, so don't stop on me yet, but, he's treated here almost like a dictator, which we know he was. His motto, "My study is the heart of the people." That's an indication, that's what's underneath the picture. That's an indication that he is a populist. He sees himself as the man of the people. We started, whoever made the first comment said that. He's a man of the people. And remember Malachi? Malachi came up to him, he said, "How's your son doing?" "Yeah, not so good. He's in prison." He stopped the feller and he died. He stopped him. What does that mean, stabbed? And later, Willie, as they're driving to Mason City or someplace, to Burns Landing, he says, "Find me a good lawyer and send him to Malachi and basically get this boy off." And he doesn't know if he's guilty or not. It didn't matter to Willie whether the guy was guilty of it. He was going to get him off, so send him a good lawyer. Don't you kind of like that loyalty? But is that justice? If he likes you, you get preferential treatment. That's how Willie operates. And I love the statement because this is kind of what Willie ran on. "Get in there and bust him, Willie." It's early in this book. He says, "Get in there and bust him." He says, "I'll bust him." What does he mean by that? What do you think he means when they say, get up there and bust him? Okay, and I got to finish with this. We'll do a little tomorrow. But he basically means, write this down, he means that his enemy are the powerful elites of the state. That's what he ran. You and me, we're ordinary people. I'm going up to Washington. I'm going to Baton Rouge. And I'm going to bust it up. I'm going to go bust them up. We're going to be in charge. And so that says a lot about Willie. It says a lot about that type of politician, that populist kind of. So I'll give you some more of these tomorrow. It won't take long. At least the next chapter. I may have to add to it, but rereading the next chapter for next week. And have a good day.